Hello, my little petunias, and welcome back aboard the good airship Hopium for another read along of the Supervive patch notes for week 1. This is the first patch since launch. There was the launch patch, and now there's this patch. So let's read through it. I'm excited. Let's go. Hi, Supervivors. We're still deciding how we want to label our patches, so for now, you get functional names and nothing numerical. We reserve the right to change based on our whims. Alright, let's go. For this patch, we've been looking at the data and listening to your feedback, trying to formulate a set of mostly numerical changes for balance, along with some bigger changes to the ranked experience, RE deliberately staying lighter on balance. We're not taking massive swings because everything is fresh and things are rapidly changing. Side note, this is excellent. You should never make big changes right away. Like, knee-jerk reactions are the worst thing you can do. Let the balance pan out. Characters that seem OP right now won't seem OP in 2 weeks. Like, as somebody who went into this game, thinking a couple characters were OP, now that I've put more and more time into it, those characters I am not having nearly as much trouble with. It's just something where a lot of times players just have to adjust to the game and the gameplay and the characters, and suddenly characters that seemed OP or lack thereof that completely flip-flop in the hierarchy. And so I'm glad they're taking things easy on that front and letting it sort of settle and find a natural level to it. It's nice. Anyway, we're not taking massive swings because everything is fresh and things are rapidly changing. We want to leave space for metas to form and reform, especially as the knowledge is shared and y'all figure out how to counter Shrike. Shrike was who I was talking about. Especially difficult, I think, for as a new player. But as you sort of learn just how to play it, I don't think she's that bad, really. She's bad if you play stupid, I guess, and you just kind of run into it, or you just stand out in the open. But really, not the worst once you actually start to figure out how to the pacing of the game. Seeing a week 1 patch might also prompt questions as to what our desired patch Candace is, to which I'd say we're thinking one more big patch in December, then bi-weekly patches starting mid-January, or maybe you're asking about what our future plans are, to which I'd say read this. And that's that's a link to the roadmap. If you want to read that, I will put that into the description below as well. I looked through it. There's a lot of cool stuff in the roadmap. I'm going to be covering it on my Hero Shooter News on Friday, so be sure to check that out. It's a cool roadmap. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. There's sort of announcements of when we're going to get new cosmetics and new heroes and new game modes, and when they're planning on updating some major things. And it's a really solid roadmap, and it's really cool to see. So let's keep going. Okay, let's focus on today right now. Ranked. Coming into open beta, we knew there was still work to do, but wanted to get the game in your hands to validate feedback before digging into our competitive systems. Well heard, Chief. We're already working on a ranked upgrade for January, February, but have started yoinking things up to now per your feedback. So before we get to changes for the future, we would like to do a more comprehensive overhaul with plans for better leaderboards, friends, social, regional rewards, competitiveness. We also hear your regarding ranked feeling more grind-based than skill-based. We also hear your regarding ranked feeling more grind-based than skill-based. We have a hypothesis as to why, and that doomed feeling as a solo player getting overrun by a pre-made, but no promises yet, just plans. That's cool. I haven't had a chance to play ranked yet. Really haven't had a desire to. But no, that's, I'm glad. As somebody who's played a lot of ranked modes in a lot of games, and I'm sure most people have by now, one of the worst things I think you can step into as a player of rank, at least for me, I don't think rank should ever feel like it's just a grind to get to a certain rank. Like, you shouldn't, like, not everybody should be able to get to the last rank, and that's fine. There have been a couple of games I've played where that is the case, where literally anybody can get to the end as long as they have, like, a 30% win rate, and they just grind long enough, and that's ridiculous. That's not how ranked should be. Ranked, the purpose of ranked is if you want to jump into the game and have matchmaking that is fair and balanced. Like, every single game will be balanced as shit, and it will be a fight to win. You won't just have easy games, you won't just have hard games, you will have very balanced, very fair, but tough games. And that's what ranked mode should throw you into. And having, you know, a ranked mode where, like I said, where I've played a couple of games where you can get like 30% and still end up at the very top of the ranked system is kind of ridiculous. It kind of defeats the point. It kind of feels like just, it's sort of like, pandering is not the right word, but it just feels like they're just giving it away just to be nice. Like, they just want to make fans happy, and it's just silly because it makes no one happy at the end, because all the good players are mad because the bad players are with them, and the good players and the bad players just don't care enough about the rank system in general anyway. What's the point of a rank system if it's not working properly? So this is exciting. I'm excited about this. Let's keep going before I get too sidetracked. For now, given all the constraints of shipping a patch within a week of launch and using the tools we think we have a fun temporary solution. Anyone with more than 500 rank points at Legend Ranked will get reset back to 500 RP. This is to recalibrate the top of the ladder competition with our new pre-made restrictions rules. Squad Masters plus Q will now be limited to duos pre-mades at most. Duos, Masters, Q will now be limited to solos at most. They have that crossed off. This has been reverted due to community feedback. I like this fact. I like the fact that they're limiting it. It seems like they basically just don't want full teams dropping into ranked and just kind of dominating people, which I get. That's one of the thing, like, not the only thing definitely to kill Gigantic Ranked, but definitely a big part of Gigantic Rank struggling the way it did when it came out, besides the fact that the game was already struggling, was the fact that you just can't, man. It's just, people are too good nowadays. Like, you just can't let a full squad of like 4 or 5 people just drop into a game together against Johnny solo player like myself. It just doesn't work, man. It sucks. Oh, you might say, is that it? But no, it's not it. Custom game access for Legend Plus. If you've been in the top 0.01% of anything, couldn't be me, you know it's lonely at the top, and no matchmaking algorithm will save you when you're just better. Something bell curves. That's funny, I like that joke. Giving custom game access to Legend Plus players lets these gifted Supervive players play socially after grinding through Masters and halved pre-mades, while also upholding a core community philosophy of Theorycraft, the power of self-organization. There's simply no way to form a formula can matchmake the best, but you can through the power of friendship. Godspeed. P.S. Inevitably will be asked about why not giving custom lobbies to everyone, so I will speed run the context. Individual games of Supervive cost us for each instance hosted, meaning a 1-player game of Supervive is about as expensive as a 40-player game. This is me generalizing to an extreme. It makes sense, though. I mean, I'm sure that's true to an extent. Custom games also pull players out of the matchmaking pool, which harms matchmaking quality and queue times. Again, another very good point. Theorycraft giving custom game access is very scary for us from a cost and game quality perspective. We're going to do it anyway for Legend Plus players until January 15th because we don't have other acceptable solutions for our very best. So basically what it sounds like is they're giving custom game access to the very best players at the top of the leaderboards, so those players can keep playing the games, because those players are probably the ones streaming the games, playing in tournaments. Those players are the ones that are making the game look really fucking cool and really fucking fun to play, and they want to make sure those players stick around and have a fun experience. so that they can keep drawing in new players. Big streamers, high-level players, those are free advertising. I don't think it always translates to new players all the time, but every little player counts when it's a little indie game like this. So I understand. I would like to see custom games for everybody. I hope that if the game ever starts to plummet in population count, I hope they decide to pull that trigger and just go, maybe we should find some kind of solution where we can let players host their own custom games or something, because that would be cool. Because it is something that is necessary when a game starts to die and your queues don't matter anymore anyway, because there's not enough gigantic fan. There's not enough players to support it anyway. You might as well just give them that access. But for now, I completely understand. All these reasons are completely acceptable, and I totally agree with them, so let's keep going. At Monday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will manually grant every player who is ranked Legend Plus, duos, and squads the ability to host custom games for the whole week. Since it's not Monday, we have already done this week's grants. Oh, so basically they're going to go through and revise this every single week. So if you drop out of Legend Plus, you're not going to be on the list for custom games. It doesn't say that they're going to take it away at the end of the week. But if you get up to Legend Plus, you might get it next week or the Monday after that. Okay, that's cool. If you fall out of Legend Plus rank during this... My questions are being answered. If you fall out of Legend Plus rank during the week, you'll retain access to custom games until the next Sweep Monday, so you'll have until then to reclaim your standing. Custom games include the ability to set storm shifts, powers, and game modes. They are also a little janky. It's a dev tool currently, so pardon the dust. You can access custom games through the queue down drop menu on the top left. This is a temporary solution and will be removed on January 15th, 2025. So it sounds like they're trying to probably come up with a more permanent version of this, since it's just a dev tool version of it. Again, I think it's great, let people do this for the top ranked people, because you're gonna create some cool tournaments, some cool streams, stuff like that. I'm totally down for it. And the fact that they're only doing it till January shows that they're probably working on something in the background. They're clearly trying to figure out this ranked mode issue and make it so that people actually want to play right. They don't want the top players of the game leaving, and that's very cool of them, and it's very smart of them. It's very intelligent. You must have at least 8 players in the lobby to start. We reserve the right to increase this threshold if things get scary. Undefined. There is also no indicator as to why you can't start. It just won't let you start until you get 8, so consider this patch note to be your UX. Legend players. If you want to set up something on our official Discord to help you organize, reach out to PWYFF. Otherwise, it's in your own hands. Death Circle. We've heard a lot of feedback regarding the changes to the initial circle's size. While we believe the smaller size has improved our early game pacing, especially in cases where things feel real empty for the first few minutes, we also hear that some drop paths end up feeling claustrophobic. We'd like to preserve our current game pacing, but we want to alleviate the feeling, so let's try this first set of changes. Keep the feedback coming. Initial radius has been increased by 10%. The first circle will still close in the same amount of time, so it will feel faster once it starts closing. The first circle will still close in the same amount of time, so it will feel faster once it closes. This is probably the one change they made that I have had the most mixed feelings about since Next Fest. As a new player, jumping into Battle Royale right now, it sucks a dick. A lot of times you end up in just a clusterfuck of like multi-team fights, and it's really hard to learn the game. It's just really intense. It is very and I played a lot during Steam Next Fest, but I'm not good at the game. I'm not like some top tier player. I can't imagine somebody who's just dropping into the game for the first time and doesn't know the controls. Like, it feels much more claustrophobic. Like, yeah, that is definitely the right word for it. Like, there's so many times I've ended up in more multi-team fights since that change than I ever did during Steam Next Fest. The entire time I played, like, nonstop for a week, and it kind of sucks because it's making it really difficult for me to learn the game, learn the pacing. I don't mind a slow early game. That's kind of the point of battle royales, but I get it. They want it to kind of just be this action-y game. And I think the best way to fix that is to slowly increase the circle radius until people stop complaining about the circle radius. And so I think this is probably the right call. And if 10% doesn't work, increase it another 10% next week. And just keep doing that until people stop complaining. Until it feels good. Until it's just a little bit slow, but it's still a little bit fast. And I think that's the best way. I think they're onto something here. Let's keep going. Hunter changes. Woo! Ghost. Ghost is looking weak across the board, giving him a little more damage and mobility to bring him up to fold. MK7 Glyph Rifle, damage increased by 5%. Combat Slide reduced from, the cooldown is reduced from 12.98 to 11.88. I kind of wish the last one changed, like make it 7, I don't know. It's just weird that it's 8.8. Note, the level 2 to 3 change was not in the tooltip and not intended, so this is just buffing level 1 and 2 and leaving 3 the same. Okay, that makes sense. We're seeing Hudson looking pretty dominant across all MMRs. Gun should go burr, but his mobility and range were feeling pretty out of line. Aim laser now accurately shows range, both empowered and unempowered. As a person who's basically been maining Hudson, I'm kind of sad about this. And I'm not maining Hudson because he's good. I'm maining Hudson because I love miniguns in every game that I have ever played. Light machine guns and miniguns are just fucking fun. So this makes me sad, but I accept it and I understand. Minigun, unempowered projectile reduced from 1500 to 1400. Hover jet's duration 2 to 2.5. It's getting decreased to, wow, this is a big nerf. 1.4, 1.4, and 1.75. So even the top end of the hover duration now isn't as good as the lowest version of it before. That's crazy. Arjun, our resident hot assassin, is looking a little weak. Yeah, I would say that. I haven't hardly seen anybody playing him, and nobody I've seen that has played him has done very well. This is also the last time we will use objectifying language for Jin, but he has recently just come into hotness, and we must celebrate momentarily. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care if they call Jin hot. I don't think it's objectifying. I just think it's fun. It's just fun to call him hot. He's hot, so let's call him hot. I'm fine with that. I think he's hot. Why not? Who cares? He's a video game character, right? We can objectify a little bit, like... To the change, we expect Jin to get better as people get more games in, but this small change should help him get there a bit quicker. Flash Dagger, cast warm-up reduced from 0.3 to 0.1. Myth, recommended item changes. Okay, we're jumping down to, that's the only thing they changed on Jin was Flash Dagger. And it's still less than a second, so okay. Myth, recommended item changes from Rampage to Mind Blade. It's better for her. I like the fact that they're doing that. A lot of games I've played, they don't change the recommended items. It's a lot of times it's just whatever the developers thought would be best when they were making the character, and they didn't put a lot of thought into it, and about a week later somebody in the community is like, meta-wise, this just doesn't make sense, don't use that ever, even though they recommend it. It's just... So I'm glad they're changing it. Like, it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna like it a lot, especially as a new or like a not as great player who doesn't necessarily have time to keep up with all the metas. It'll be cool if they keep up and make sure that the recommended items for characters are pretty close to what a top level player would use, because it just makes it easier for lower ranked players. I hope at some point they implement something where we can see what other people use for builds and just copy those. I know Pokemon Unite kind of has that. Deadlock has that. It's a cool system, and I would like to see it. And that's one of the biggest things I like for MOBAs, is because I'm so... It's hard for somebody that doesn't want to keep up with metas to, learn all that shit. Shiv was impacted disproportionately by a tech change to more precisely control projectile ranges. This change gives her a little more threat range, so she can function better at mid-range. Arc Slingers base range increased from 800 to 850. Empowered range increased from 925 to 950. So a small little tweak to her range, but a pretty decent one. And that's it for characters, guys. We're going on to equipment. These changes are mostly based on data we're seeing, specifically evolution pick rates, win rates, etc. Small nudges here and there to bring things in. Vampiric Axe. All evolutions of Vampiric Axe are underperforming, so this is a category-wide buff. Base Omnivamp from 7.5 to 8.5. The in-game tooltip rounds up, so it'll look like 9%. Sorry. Also, all evolutions get this buff. Swiftblade. Self-heal on empowered attack increased from 50 to 60. Rampage. Ability power to max stack reduced from 50 to 40. We're on to the powers section. Two-way teleporters. Some of y'all are sleeping on this power, and we know who because we're tracking drop rates. So we're hoping light buffs will make it more exciting to hold on to. Some tips: teleport resurrection beacons, pre-drop teleports for mid-flight flanks. Try third-party kidnapping someone from a flight. Oh, the possibilities. Cooldown reduced from 100 to 70 seconds. Wow, that's a pretty big deduction. It's almost a 20, it's more than a 25% reduction. It's a 30% reduction. I can't do even the most basic math. Jesus fucking shit. I'm dumb. Minimum delay on reactivation reduced from 10 to 8 seconds, so it's faster to teleport. Bungee shot. Philosophically, we feel the same as above. Cool power y'all sleeping on, so we're gonna buff it until you like it. I like that philosophy. That's a good philosophy. If players aren't using something and you put it in the... If you put something in the game, you should think that it's cool. You should think that it's going to be a cool gameplay addition. And you shouldn't put stuff in the game that you don't think that about. Like, if you put something in the game, you need to think that it's going to be awesome. And if you put something in the game and you think it's going to be awesome and people don't use it, something is clearly wrong with it and it's not that awesome and you need to change it. And that's a cool little philosophy to stick to. They're doing that. That's cool. Cooldown. Anyway, bungee shot. Cooldown reduced from 20 seconds to 16 seconds. Shot warm-up. Time reduced from 0.2 to 0 seconds. It's near instant. Bug fixes. We're on to bug fixes now. This is the very last section. Bug fixes. Fixed Felix's name in French. Fixed issues where AFK detection would kill players even when they return from being AFK. Fixed Shiv Secret Agent Golden Gun Chroma, so it isn't pulling from base gun textures in game. Improved ping retry on region. Latency check to reduce issues where players get disconnected entirely from internet due to spam. Well, guys, that is the end of week 1 patches for Supervive. Some pretty fucking solid patches here. A lot of their little notes in here about why they're doing things are really cool to hear. They make a lot of sense. Even the stuff that could be kind of controversial, like not giving everybody custom games, they explain themselves. And it's awesome, man. I can't argue with any of it because they're doing such a good job laying down what they're doing and why they're doing it, communicating with the community. This is amazing. It's cool to feel heard. It's cool to see them communicating and talking and saying, you know, this might not be a permanent change, but this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. We know you might not like this change. We know you might like this change or dislike this change, but here's why. Amazing. I just can't get enough of Supervive and their communication with the community. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching and liking and subscribing and whatever else you do. It is just amazing. Until next time, tell me, you digging these cool changes coming to Supervive? Are you excited for the future? Again, the link for this will be in the comments. The link for the roadmap will be in the comments. Until next time, guys, just keep having a happy life and a wonderful life. And until next time aboard the airship Opium, this is Snappydude out, y'all. Bye.